There was a report last week from John Heyman that prior to the season, the Orioles went out and, tried to get Gunnar Henderson a nice little contract extension. What are your immediate thoughts? And first of all, would you, in your second, third, or fourth year, have taken a contract extension?
Yes.
Because
I'm sorry.
No.
Yes.
You would have.
Yeah. Dude, you can't say you say if you're Gunnar Henderson is how you got to start that.
Well, no, because it's actually interesting. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of money that Gunnar is going to get, but you are a first round pick.
And I would have never even thought. I would have said hard yes.
Okay. Because the reason I bring this up is after this story came out with Gunnar Henderson, then Ken Rosenthal wrote a little think piece talking about Pete Crow-Armstrong, PCA, and how well he's playing right now, and how it would be foolish if he accepted a long-term contract from the Chicago Cubs. And my thought is, yes, there are many guys in baseball who have undervalued contracts. We've talked about Bobby Witt, and somebody the other day was saying, oh, Bobby Witt's the biggest idiot in baseball because he could have gotten a Soto-like deal. Or, Acuna. We talked about Acuna plenty of times. This guy made, $10 million a year for 9 years? Something ridiculous like that. But if you are these guys and you get hurt after year 2 or year 3 and you never have the opportunity to get that money, that is life-changing money, not only for you, it's also for your family. Your kids are not going to have to worry about money. So I can understand anybody saying, oh, don't make that deal. But then you look at Fernando Tatis. Would Fernando Tatis get that same deal now that he got prior to being popped for steroids? No chance.
No chance. And here's the thing, too. Ronald Acuna Jr., 2 major knee injuries and surgeries that very easily, either one of them could have knocked out his career right there or can still knock out of his career. To say no to Pete Crow-Armstrong is absolutely crazy because the problem is that to say no to what? To what type of money? Are we talking about a Evan Longoria or an Acuna kind of deal? No, we're going to talk about a lot more money than that. And the thing is where his career is going to go, we have no idea. It didn't 2024 was good. 2025 has started out amazing, but he's definitely slowed down too in these the last 7 games. He's slowed down. And so there's times here we got to talk about it. Gunnar Henderson has a lot more at bats under his belt in the big leagues. So the Gunnar Henderson sitting there, and we're basically already at arbitration coming up. Mm-hmm. This is when you talk the deal. This is when you sit down and go over it because this is the Orioles don't have a whole lot more time on those books. They're going to have only 2 more real full seasons, or 3 maybe full seasons where you have to have that conversation where he's a free agent and now you have no choice. So these are the times when you talk. And if I'm Pete Crow-Armstrong, I'm sitting down at the table saying, hell yeah, let's have a conversation and let's at least talk this through. If you're going to sit there and get an Acuna deal on the table, I'm probably saying no. I need to have something that builds up into the net worth. If you think I'm worth holding around for 10 years, pay me like I'm worth holding around for 10 years. Now, I'm not looking for Vladdy, Soto, Ohtani, Judge type of money because you haven't proven it on that level. Mm-hmm. But I am looking at I'm looking at an Acuna. I'm looking at a Bobby Witt Jr. I'm looking at those deals saying, okay, that's starter price because of where they're at and where their success is compared to where I'm at, my success. At the same time, he had 10 home runs, hit 237, had had a 143 total bases last year. Mm-hmm. He's had a great start to this season. So let's pump the brakes before we're anointing him the next crown, the greatest superstar ever. He's an incredible athlete, an incredible player, and there are great things coming out of every single thing you ever hear about him. At the same time, let's see this continue. If this continues, he's a 280 hitter right now. It's not like he's 315, but 280 is goddamn good. And 15 home runs at this point is damn good. It's 7-8 off the pace. There's a lot of really good things. The defense is through the roof, but it's not Soto numbers. But at the same time, that Witt deal, it's got to be the starter pack, and then you got to go. Okay, that's great. Times have changed.
I'm not so sure that that's the starter pack, because what did he get? 2 something. But if you can look that up while I'm talking, Bobby Witt's contract. But you take a look at PCA, he doesn't play shortstop. He plays in center field, which is definitely, a position of need for a lot of teams.
11-year 288.
Okay, 11-year 288. I
Would
wouldn't give,
go to 377 over 14. Like, to me, that's the number. Like, if you're talking at this point in my career and you think I'm something, like when he signed that, now again, Bobby Witt immediately then gave you number 2 in MVP voting, or 3?
Yeah. I'll give you some numbers and you tell me if you'll take it if you're Pete Crow-Armstrong. 10 years, 150.
No.
10 years, 200.
Now we're getting to the table.
See, I wouldn't go any higher than that because I just don't know. I've seen guys like
Here's the thing, though, is in 5 years, the value of $200 million is going to be like nothing in baseball.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's where I got to find the balance. And so 10 years, 200, I don't think gets him to the table, because if I'm him and his agent, go, okay, dude, that's like, guys are, for what you're doing right now, are getting paid 40 a year. 50,
yeah.
50 is not going to be a crazy number, in 5 years.
But there's no track record. All right. So for Gunnar, if I say, Gunnar, I'm going to give you 10 years, 250.
He's going to say, hell no. He's going to laugh at that. If I'm Gunnar Henderson, I'm laughing at that deal.
10 years.
I've got to wait 3 years. I'm going to have $600 million on the table.
Yeah, if you can stay healthy and keep doing what you're doing.
But the thing is, the arbitration for him is going to be basically 20 to 25, $30 million. He's going to be making more money in arbitration than what that contract would even be.
There's no doubt. I'm not.
So why would you, if you're just into arbitration and you're going to get 25 a year?
Because I remember guys like Ian Desmond. I remember guys like Pete Alonso, who got an offer, turned it down, and now can't sniff $150 million. He turned it down. Remember Michael Conforto was offered $100 million?
Yeah, these still aren't. These guys never. Alonso's the only one that even came close to the type of athlete and player that these guys are. Conforto was never even close. Conforto was still, when offered, like, potential. Like, okay, you're good.
Right,
you could be great. Gunnar's great. Gunnar already did it. Like, he's there. And so you're asking him to take less money than he's going to get in arbitration. That's the thing. He could sit in arbitration for 2 years and make more money than that contract you just offered. His money is going to go down. So that's the problem, is you're not going to take a pay decrease when you actually go sign an extension than what you're getting in arbitration, which is, hey, what are you worth against the competition at the same age and same level? He's going to go down.
All right, let's pivot a little bit, because we're not going to be able to speculate on what number they want forever. I do want to discuss the fact that basically the Orioles went around and told everybody, hey, we're sellers. We're going to be sellers at the deadline if this doesn't improve. That actually came out last week, which I'm surprised. Now, if you are the Orioles, I know you're going to say no, but if you're the Orioles and you've tried to lock up Gunnar long-term and he has no interest, and he basically, and I don't know, I'm speculating, if he said, no, I'm just going to wait until free agency, knowing that you have a lot of time left with him and people will give you a Juan Soto-like haul. Let's say you can go to a team like the Pirates and they're going to give you Skeens plus. Are you looking to trade him knowing that there's a very good chance that I'm not going to be able to sign this guy long-term and I'm going to lose him and I can get a lot for him right now?
No. I think the problem at saying, yes, we're sellers, I think sellers to them means take our any fat contract, any old guy off our books.
They don't have any.
Exactly.
Well, so the only guy that
I think Cedric Mullins being hurt is probably the worst thing that ever happened to them, because that was probably the only guy that they would be possibly selling. I think when you look at that Charlie Morton, but no one's going to want. I mean, he's been pitching better lately. I think when you look at that bullpen, it might be Felix Bautista, Sir Anthony Dominguez. When you're looking at the lineup, maybe a Ryan O'Hearn, something like that. That's who they're talking about selling, or like a Dylan Carlson. Like they're talking about selling those guys. They're not talking about selling Gunnar Henderson. Don't get me wrong, and I'm the first one to ever say this. You listen to every goddamn offer. There's nobody saying Paul Skeens and O'Neal Cruz is not trade, like they're not going to trade him. The dumbest thing ever. That just makes, no, you just wrapped Paul Skeens in a nice little warm blanket. You're going to be with the worst organization forever.
Yeah.
Awesome. That probably makes him really happy. What you do, you say, hey, we're listening to everything. But dude, like if you're coming for Gunnar Henderson, you better give me that deal. That deal, that Soto deal, I'm listening to every single one of those deals, 100%. But this team, what they should be doing is turning around and not rebuilding. You reload.
Yeah.
You go out there right now and you get those guys for the next 2 years. You get the dudes that are going to turn this thing around. And you say, okay, like we might not win the East this year, but we have a chance to win the wild card. And if we have the type of team we want, who gives a shit? Because to me, this team is so good on so many levels that if they got the right players in there and they were able to squeak into the playoffs, that's the team I'm circling saying, I do not want to play this team. I'll play anybody besides this team if this team's able to make the playoffs, because they're going to be angry. They're going to have a chip on the shoulder. And the one thing I know about Major League Baseball is if you're hot in September, you're hot in October. And a team that has to make the playoffs and fighting from behind is going to go deep, deep, deep into the playoffs.
And like you said, they have some players who are good on so many levels. And if you want to be good on so many levels, there's only one place to go. David, tell everybody where the one place to go is.
TopVelocityPro.com. Come to the website, go to social media everywhere. Top Velocity Pro, you'll find me. You'll find my number on there. Hit me up. If you have an athlete, you or yourself are an athlete and you want to be the best possible thrower there is, Duke, hit me up. This is what I do, and I'm damn good at it.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. And with that being said, I'm James. He's David Ardsma. We will talk to you soon, guys. Thanks so much.